So we're doing something different this time, and it's essentially another list video. Ooh, revolutionary. But I thought to myself, I haven't actually seen one for Hitman 2 where someone's gone through some of the challenges in the game and thought, okay, which one's the best, or at least what they perceive to be the best. So this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to go through 10 of the challenges that stick out in my mind from an enjoyment perspective or a memorable perspective, and if you disagree, leave your thoughts in the comments. But without further ado, let's get into it. So starting off in number 10, we've got the new army. Well, that was the mission story anyway. The challenge associated with it was Paranoid Android. And I'll be honest, this one sticks in my mind just for the fact that, if anything, it was one of the first challenges we saw in the pre-release for Hitman 2, so that is probably why it does stick. But besides that, I do like the idea of the android. If anything, it recurs with Mark Faber's elusive targets, and even though I haven't done a lot of featured contracts yet, I would assume it pops up there as well with the photos that are scattered around the level. So in general, this one mission story, this one challenge, it does stick in the mind. It's got replayability, not to mention the actual setup for the challenge is quite good in that you have to get a disguise that's very specific, and even though I didn't like the waiting around in the weapons room, you do still have a bit of fun doing the challenge and seeing Robert Knox get blasted to hell by an android. So even though it's number 10 on the list, it's still beat a hell of a lot of challenges to get there, so well done to the new army. Now, number 9, we've got No You Don't. Yeah, that was partnered with another challenge called Now You See Me, and essentially it's the challenge that completes Zoe Washington burning in the effigy. Now, this one's memorable just because the effigy stands out to you as soon as you see the Isle of Scale. You see it and you go, right, I want to use that. So, if anything, it was pretty much obvious that it was going to be a challenge, and it didn't disappoint. It was quite a glorious kill. I thought the setup was pretty good. The idea again that you had to get a very specific disguise, the Master of Ceremonies, and also even though there was a bit of a wait in terms of getting Zoe Washington in position, there was still enough interesting stuff going on with the constant watching and attendance, just to keep a little bit of interest. I would have liked it though if Zoe had been involved, because a criticism I've got at the Isle of Scale is that the two sisters never really join together. There isn't a challenge that brings them together, and I think this would have been a good one, Sophia watching Zoe. So, little criticism of it, but in general the challenge was very good. The mechanics of it were very good in the sense that you burned the effigy just with the disguise you've got on, so number 9 in my books quite fairly. Now, number 8, we're going to Whittleton Creek, and it is Finger on the Pulse. So this one might not stick out for some, but I always like the idea of actually killing Janus as the guy who's supposed to be helping him. And, you see this nurse on the benches outside feeding the ducks, and you're like, okay, you don't really want to do it, so I'll do it for you. And yeah, it's a pretty good challenge for that reason. And it was added up the list, if you like, when you remember that there's a time limit. So it's not as if you just go into his bedroom and kill him. You do have to pretty much wait your turn and get out of the little room you stashed away in, and you've got 5 minutes to kill him. So yeah, the stakes are pretty high. Not to mention there is also the added challenge, if you like. If you want to just disturb the ducks and get the nurse to go in himself, you could actually just set the nurse up to kill him by just getting the nurse into the room you take Janus, and you could just knock the nurse out and kill Janus in there. So you've got other options rather than going through the motions yourself. So as a challenge I do like it, and that's why it's at number 8. Now, number 7 is the only trip we're making to Mumbai, and that is for Broad Strokes. The corresponding challenge, I'm not exactly sure which one you do unlock, but it's either the painter or become the painter. I'll admit I did it a few times, so I'm not sure which one was the correct one. But the mission story itself was fun. The idea is that you're going to impersonate a painter, or at least manipulate a painter to get Dawood Rangan into a room where a separate assassin is going to take him out for you. So I just love the idea of that. I know that I could have also included in Mumbai the one with the laundry area and Vanya Shah, but I just didn't feel that one was as exciting. It felt like it was secondary to, if anything, if you consider the entire idea of proxy killer, the proxy killer challenge where you get the separate assassin to do the different kills, this one just feels like the main one, whereas getting Vanya seems more like just going through the motions. So yeah, that's why I've left the artist here on its own, or become broad strokes. But in general, I do think it's a very good challenge. Mum by itself has got good challenges, but I think this is the standout one, and that's why it's on the list when some others have missed out. So, number 6. We're in Santa Fortuna now, and we're doing Art of Stone. Now, this one's going back for me because this is a while ago since I did this. But I enjoyed the setup of it because, if anything, it was like a little mystery to start with. You've got to find all the drummers and find out what happened on their boozy night out. And then you find one of them are dead and you have to replace him. So that was, again, quite interesting. Not to mention, if you're going to do the challenge by yourself, you are going to need to push the statue, so you've got to find a way of getting up there. So all in all, this ticked quite a few boxes for a good challenge. You can either kill Andrea on her own, you can kill Rico on his own, or you can kill them both together. So again, this ticked quite a few boxes, and I did enjoy it for that reason. The only thing I would criticise is that it's a little bit tricky with the statue when I recorded it. I'll have to replay the level just to see if it's more easy with more unlocks, but maybe a breach charge or something would have made it easier. But as it stands, not particularly convenient as far as having to go up there with a change disguise, but maybe it's a bit better now that more unlocks have occurred and we've got explosives in the inventory, so I'll come back to you on that one. So, top half of the list now, number 5. We're going to do an Isle of Scale one here, and I'm actually going to bend the rules a little bit and include 2 challenges, but purely because they are near identical. That is Mistaken Identity and Sleight of Hand. So both of these kills require killing the Washington sisters with the Aztec necklace that they've stolen, and this is the reason why I couldn't separate them, because it's essentially the same kill. It's a fibre wire kill. If this had been another map, this would have been the personal touch. But I did like the idea of it. Like, first of all, you got to steal the necklace, and that was, I wouldn't say it was tricky, but when you've got to get essentially the archaeologist disguise on as well, that is something that is really quite clever. So yeah, I was really excited about doing that one. I'll admit Zoe was a bit of a pain getting her into a secluded location. I've seen routes where you can get into the bathroom, and she just wasn't going there for me, so I had to come up with a different method. But overall, I did enjoy the challenge. So, number 4, we're going back to Miami, and it's Pretty in Pink. Now, again, this is a mission story, so the corresponding challenge is Pink Menace, but again, I did enjoy it. If anything, it's one of the first things you see when the pre-release comes out. Again, that does have an impact, because they're going to put one of the stronger challenges in the pre-release to sort of say, look at what we're doing. But it was a very interesting idea, the idea that someone's taken a mascot disguise and is basically wanting to blackmail Sierra Knox. So you can just basically take that disguise and step in and do the work for him. So it was a very cool challenge, a very cool concept. I didn't particularly like the idea that she isn't isolated, so when you're playing the mission for the first time, you've got to get rid of the bodyguards, otherwise it's a bit of a pain trying to kill her. But in general, I did enjoy it. I thought it was a very well done challenge. I just wish it had been a little bit more simpler. Maybe with master difficulty it was made harder, but professional difficulty it was easier. I'll have to check that out. But again, in principle, it was a fun challenge. It definitely lives long in the memory, so thumbs up from me. Number 3. At this point, we're going to Santa Fortuna again, and this is arguably one of the coolest kills that we're going to be talking about, and it's a bite out of crime. Now, if you said to any Hitman player going into this game, you're going to be able to kill a target by feeding him to a hippo, I don't think many people would have said, no, I don't want that, unless maybe they don't like the idea of hippos being carnivorous. But, as a kill goes, it is quite cool. You've basically just got to feed a meaty bone to the hippopotamus or meeple, and yeah, it's just wait for Rico to turn up, and once he's had a little chat with the hippo wrangler, you can do whatever the hell you like to him. So in my recent roulette, I used fibre wire to kill him as a barman, but if you're just trying to do a quick silent assassin suit only route, you could probably set that all up, go away for a bit, he'll be back soon enough, and you can just push him in, nice and easy done. So for that reason, it's good for a number of purposes, that's why it gets good marks from me. So we're moving on to number 2, and with this one we've got Extensive Presentation. So this was very close to number 1 for the simple fact that I don't know how many quips they must have come up with in this script to sort of try and sell the idea of the ultimate murder house, but they did fantastic in doing it. So yeah, I really did enjoy it. The kill itself is a little bit simple, the idea of the safe room exploding, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it is a fantastic challenge. The idea that you're just showing him around the house and you're making him get really irritable about being shown around every room and having murder quips thrown at him left, right and centre. But the safe room explosion is a good payoff for that, so yeah, it's 10 out of 10 for me there. I think the build up is better than the actual kill, but it doesn't take away from what is actually a cool kill. So I've got one honourable mention this time. Again, I'm copying list video techniques here, but it was something that I did put on the list, but then I realised, oh okay, maybe that isn't for everyone. But the one I did have in mind was the tree falls on the apple in Miami. I did like the challenge. I thought, you know, it's a good little kill, but again, it might not be memorable for some people. I think for myself, it was just because I found a good way of doing it silent assassin suit only, but maybe some other people go, okay, you're just pushing Robert onto Sierra's car, nothing fancy. So again, maybe you'll disagree, maybe you think that could have been the top 10, but let me know. So, number 1, this might be a strange one for some people, so let me know what you think. Hot Shot, Miami. Now, I love this challenge the first time I played it, and it hasn't really lowered in my estimation since. And the principle of the challenge is that you've got to end the race and have Sierra as either the winner or the loser. I can't remember off the top of my head there. But the idea is that you've got to persuade her as the other racer. I can't remember his name off the top of my head either. And you essentially just got to challenge her to a drinking competition. So you poison a drink, but make sure you put the octane booster in it and just watch her blow up. It's a brilliant idea, because also you've got to play the game with her, so if you do forget where you put the octane booster, you can kill yourself as well, so I've got to admit that is a cool concept. So as challenges go, I thought that was a fantastic one. The amount of work leading up to it is good as well, because it's not a simple challenge. You're not just going to race through it in 5 minutes, but it's not that complicated that you've got tons of waiting around to do either. So it had several moving parts, but they were all quite interesting. The main thing was getting Moses Lee, that's his name. So yeah, I really did like that challenge, but maybe you didn't, maybe you disagree. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. Maybe you would like to add some of your own and take some out. So what is your top 10 challenges in Hitman 2? Don't forget, this is recorded before any of the new content from June 2019 onwards is released. So apparently the bank is going to be coming out this month or in June. So don't forget to leave comments that don't include post-June, because it's going to get very confusing if suddenly stuff like that gets included. But yeah, let me know what you think. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I'll see you in another video. This has been Josh from JJ's Productions. Bye for now, folks.